Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back with Captain Sachin Bali, and as we discussed in part one and part two, Sachin is the hero of my battalion. Uh, why hero? Because he went beyond the call of his duty, and he has been going beyond the call of his duty all his life. He is one man who has led by example in the early stages of his life, when he was in college, when he was in the uniform, when he was in the army, and post the army life. Sachin is an achiever in the true sense. So, in this part, we are going to cover Sachin left army after the mandatory tour of duty, and after doing his bit for the men he commanded, uh, living up to the expectations of the uniform and his seniors and the organization. Uh, Sachin had now a lot to prove. Anybody in his position would have given up, and he says, now I am injured, I have become a battle casualty, I will not do anything in life. Whatever military will compensate or government will give me, I'll live of that. But that is not Sachin. That is not an army officer is. So here we want to talk to Sachin. He is a big corporate man. You search on LinkedIn and you search on internet, and you will see 10 pages opening up with the name of Captain Sachin Bali. And all his heroics, all stories have been picked up by major national dailies and magazines. I happened to see his interview in Cosmopolitan and all the prominent magazines. A most eligible Bachelor of the Year he has been. A lot of people actually would like to take that place also. Sachin, please tell us what was your why decision? Why did you leave army? What was the reason behind that decision? Did you plan an early exit? And then, in the same flow, you must tell us how has been your journey from the uniform to the civil world.
Definitely, sir. Uh, I definitely did not plan an early exit. In fact, when I was rescued from the glacier on my way back, I was actually thinking that I have to come back, then we have to establish another post in one of the feature that was right next to my post, and then I have to think about the men who have to come and replace the post that was washed away in Avlan. But when I landed at the base, I asked the doctor, how soon can I get back? He smiled and said, son, your career in operational area is over. So that is when it dawned on me a little bit, but I thought probably I didn't quite register it. But over the course of the next few weeks and few months is when I realized that due to my injuries, I would not be able to serve in the operational area, which was my calling of joining the army as well, of being physically present and contributing to the cause than just being in administrative duties. So when I realized that I wouldn't be able to serve in the capacity that I signed up for, I didn't want to continue being in the administrative work or contributing towards the army in that sense. That's a great job to do as well, but that's not what my calling was. So that's when I decided I would do something else. I would study a bit more and take my experience and go out in the corporate world and follow my passion. I love to travel. I'll talk about those things as well. So once I knew that I wouldn't be able to serve in the capacity that I signed up for, I made a conscious choice of moving on.
Like you said, you had no early exit plan. So, how much time did you take actually to take a decision to appear for CAT and then go on to become a corporate bigwig? How much time and what effort went into the next phase of your career?
So while I was recuperating in the hospital, I met few officers who had injuries as well, talked about their experience in the army after that. So I made up my mind, okay, this is something that I would not want to, wouldn't be happy contributing in a way going forward. Then I started doing research, what else would I want to do? And then I came back to my plan B, which was doing an MBA. So gave myself a year to study. I requested the army to post me to a unit which was in Delhi. I joined regular classes, which was a funny thing as well, because the first day when I went to the class, I sat at the back bench, and I could see all the students were quite younger than I was, and they were very college going students. I felt a bit uncomfortable, but then I wisely came back and I requested them to give me a section where there are people with a little bit of work experience. So I gave myself a year to study for it, appeared for the exam, cleared it, and I joined IIM Banglore after that.
Sachin has made it sound so simple. Uh, right now, there are too many IIMs and too many IITs and too many AIMs also. But that was the time when IIM was as many as fingers on a hand. And IIM Bangalore, he got call from three IIMs. That is what I know of. And he scored brilliant marks. He was psychologically recovering, he was physically recovering, but instead of giving up, he said, before I take that leap of faith, let me arm myself with the required set of skills, with the required set of knowledge, and he prepared himself well. So there are lessons here in whatever Sachin does. He makes it sound so simple. Sir, I went to IIM Bangalore. How many of us go to IIM Bangalore just 1 year of study? That too after having a clear break of 5 years from your regular academic life. And in that 1 year, you go to Africa, you go to Glacier, you fight the enemy, you conduct fire assaults on the enemy, you launch rescue missions. I don't think even James Bond, if he lays down his life properly, will be doing so much in this short span of time. So what Sachin has done is actually wonderful. But what I want people to understand is, look at this young man, and he said, I am injured. Fair enough. Setbacks will come to your life, but setback is a setback only once you accept it as a setback. He says, this is a pause button which has been pressed. This pause button, I will take a step back. I will again have a different look at what lies ahead. I will take the right steps, prepare myself, arm myself with the right kind of tools and skill set, and then join the corporate world. So, to young listeners, what I want to tell you is, don't be a journalist, do not settle down for second best. IIM is the top management institute, so you have a option of doing from anywhere. All colleges nowadays offer MBA degrees and all that, but IIMs are IIMs. So that is what makes Sachin stand tall ahead of all of us, most of us, because of his never say die attitude. He didn't give up. He prepared well, and now he has worked with from Accenture to HSBC to I don't know which all banks and companies he has worked with, and is doing very well for himself. I will not mention his pay package because that is going to depress most of the listeners. Reason is that so much is achievable, and I'm sure had he applied for civil services, he would have been a JS or even beyond that now. We have Captain Sachin Bali here with us, sharing his life's experiences. But the way he puts things is what we should learn. Make things simple for yourself by having your decisions taken in a very clear, very in a thoughtful manner. And Sachin stood by his decision. He stood by a decision of quitting army because he said, I didn't want to do a desk job. And he says, I like challenges, I like traveling. Now army has given me, or life has given me, a break and a chance to switch over. He switched over. So we'll not dwell more upon this. Tell us about your hobbies. You have been a world traveler, so how do you manage this, working full time in a corporate big position and also following your passion? So how do you strike this work life balance? Because I'm sure very senior people, corporate people will also watch this interview, and I'm sure there are lessons in this interview for them also.
So my answer is consciously. Like I said, it's one life, and it's relatively a short life before you realize. I caught my wanderlust when I was in Africa in the UN mission. So I did my first backpacking trip to Kenya, and I really loved it. Once I joined the corporate, I made it a plan, made it a point to travel every 3 to 4 months, take a relatively big trip every 3 to 4 months, and it's not a difficult job because everybody gets that much amount of vacation. You can take out 5 to 7 days uh, after every 3 to 4 months. So traveling is my first passion. I love to see the world, and I've been fortunate enough to travel a bit and see quite a few countries that way. Other than that, is music. I love listening to music. I even tried my hand being a DJ at IIM Bangalore for a year, and I love reading. But yes, traveling definitely at the top, and working out as well, keeping myself fit. So travel, see the world, keep myself fit, read, listen to music. It's a short life.
It is great talking to Captain Sachin Bali. And in this series of three interviews that we have recorded with Sachin, he has given his struggle and decision to join army in the early stages of his life. He also discussed his life in the OTA. In the phase two or part two of the interview, we discussed his life in the unit, in the uniform. where he led a very daring mission. He led actually a series of missions. He is on his post. We actually were talking almost on daily basis. There were fire assaults on the enemy. There were fire assaults on us. So it's a very challenging life. He has been very humble. He has been very honest when he spoke to us. And I thank Sachin for sparing your time and giving your views in such an honest and transparent manner. Young people, I would recommend that watch this interview again and again and see his body language. There is no clutter. So that is what I like about Sachin is I have never seen him cluttered. His mind has been absolutely clear about what I want to do. Sometime you message him on WhatsApp, he says, "Sir, I'm in Bali. Can I get back to you?" Sometimes he'll say, "Sir, I'm in Indonesia. I'm in Canada. I'm this." So this is how our communication has been. But our hearts are attached with the common thread that is 12 Marathas. That is our battalion. So I know that if I leave a message, Sachin is going to get back. If not in 24 hours, within 48 hours, I get a message back from him. And that is how all of us live even now. We are past a prime. Sachin is still in his prime, but we have a common thread, common bond. That is the uniform, that is the battalion that we come from. In the final few minutes of the interview, Sachin, I would like you to sum up and give that pure gyan like Sadhguru says, okay, do this and just make people happy. So, sum up your life experiences in a few minutes, and because youngsters look up to people like you who have faced life, who have stood bravely against all challenges, and who have emerged winners. Sachin could have given up. There are so many stages where he could have given up, but he didn't give up. So he's the right person to package that message for you. That how, as anybody, how should we look at life, and what should be your advice? What will be your advice to our viewers? Yeah, over to you, Sachin.
Sure, sir. Advice is a big word. I can just talk from my experiences and what I believe in. I believe in it's a short life. One should take the chances of doing what one really wants to do. Think about it, do a bit of research about it, talk to people. Don't reinvent the wheel, which has already been done. But do follow your passion, do follow your heart. Give yourself time, take out time for yourself, invest in yourself, and follow your heart. It's very simple, sir. I mean, I can put probably a few more lines to it, but eventually it's about staying positive. If somebody asks me what I like in somebody else, I think I would say it's an attitude and positivity. It's a beautiful life. You have chances to do whatever you want to do. People tend to look at constraint, but I tend to look at the possibilities. So I think that's one thing that I really believe in. And just breathe, basically have fun. It's a wonderful life. So that's all I have to say.
It has been great talking to you, Sachin, and see such so simply as put that you got one life. You take challenges as they come. Don't give up and have a plan. Have a plan. People don't have a plan. That is why I see people frustrated. I see people lost. Very senior people. I've seen them being out of focus. So, ladies and gentlemen, we had Captain Sachin with us, an achiever in life, a war hero, a battle casualty, and a big corporate big man. I'm sure you will Google it and find out more about Captain Sachin. Sachin, thanks for being with us. It has been pleasure talking to you. And even at this stage, past I've just turned 50. I feel so inspired listening to this story. I know the story, but hearing from you makes it so special and so encouraging and so nice. Thanks for being with us. Thank you and Jai
All
Hind.
pleasure's all mine, sir. Pleasure's all mine, sir. And I must tell the audience you're being humble. I've taken inspiration from you and other officers of the unit as well. Thanks so much for having me here, sir. Jai Hind.